Hi there, thanks for meeting with me. Do you have any questions?
I've had some interesting experiences lately, and I was hoping you could tell me, how does clairvoyance work?
There are theories galore regarding the working of clairvoyance, but at the end of the day they are only theories. The problem is that we are grappling with intangibles or issues so esoteric that suitable explanation is continually elusive. This is the case with most so-called science. For example, it is a little-known fact that there is no definitive explanation for the source of gravity. That's right, gravity. Nobody has ever figured out how it really works, or should I say what causes it to be. You see, we know exactly how it influences physical objects. We even understand its effects on things like light and waves, but we just don't have the darndest clue as to the core mechanics. Did you know that all working theories regarding gravity work the same whether the force is somewhere in the middle of the planet pulling things in, or if it is some huge energy from outside the planet that is somehow pushing everything towards the core? It's absolutely bizarre.
Really, that's very strange.
The force of gravity could either be at the center of the planet or some kind of force from space. Those are two rather large and very different possibilities, yet the fact remains that there is no real distinction that is provable, favoring one over the other. But let's not let this gravity thing pull us down, or should I say push.
Thanks for the physics lesson. But I was asking, how does clairvoyance work?
So now to clairvoyance. I'm not going to claim that I know the real core mechanics that make it work, but what follows is the best non-mumbo-jumbo, empty hocus-pocus explanation that I have. There may be a better explanation waiting for me around the corner, but until that time, please take a moment to study Exhibit A.
That shows a beam of white light diffracting into 7 different colors as it passes through a prism. I love that image. It is somehow revealing to me of the nature of light and energy. But I don't exactly understand it all.
Let's begin by talking a bit about vibrations. The visible spectrum is a good example. The red end of the visible spectrum has the longest waves and the violet end has the shortest, and as you go from red to violet the waves get shorter and shorter. It's a continuum, meaning that indigo is longer than violet and blue is longer than indigo, then green is longer than blue, and so on. If you were to put sounds to this idea, red would be a deep and low sound and violet a very high-pitched sound. This idea can be seen in Exhibit B. Let's go and have a seat.
That sounds like a good idea.
This could get to be very interesting. You know, I try to base all of my ideas on how things really work, according to how things work in the natural worlds. Therefore, the spectrum idea is a perfect analogy. The next step of this explanation takes us into the idea of what we will call the unseen worlds. In everyday language you will have heard the use of colors to describe the state of being of a person. There are many examples. I've got the blues. I was so mad I saw red. She was green with envy. He is in the pink of health. The yellow streak of the coward. He is a rather dark person. She looks at the world through rose-colored glasses. I'm feeling a little gray, to list a few. In these examples, color represents someone's emotional state or mental condition.
I have often wondered what all the references to color were about.
Now the final step here is a matter of wave mechanics, and it works like this. If there are 2 tuning forks in the same rooms that are both tuned to the same frequency, say the note of C, then a very interesting thing happens when one is struck. The fork that is struck will begin to vibrate on the note of C and send out through the room a vibration that is specific to the note of C. In response to this vibration, the other tuning fork will actually begin to vibrate and resonate in sympathy without even being struck. This is called the tuning fork principle, and it simply states that things that are tuned to the same frequency will resonate in sympathy to one another.
Very interesting. So what does this all mean to clairvoyance?
Well, if you imagine how a person has a whole range of emotions and mental states, this is like having a whole range of tuning forks. And at any particular moment a person will be vibing on one or more of these mental or emotional frequencies, sending out the vibration throughout the space that they are in. By virtue of the tuning fork principle, anyone else who is in the room will have their tuning forks that are on the same frequency begin to resonate in sympathy. It's as simple as this. If a very angry and agitated person comes and sits beside you on the bus, you may find yourself getting angry and agitated too, for no other reason except that you are in the wash of some angry vibrations. Now a clairvoyant person should recognize that they have been moved from one emotional/mental state to another, and that the cause was not from within themselves but actually arose from someone outside.
That's totally fascinating. I have definitely had that feeling before.
Now here is where it gets very interesting and the real puzzle of clairvoyance comes alive. It's a little like that old TV show called Name That Tune, where the contestants are given just a few notes of a song and the challenge is to be able to correctly name the song that the notes come from. Well, in our bus example, if the clairvoyant person is on the ball, they will be able to drill down into this emotion and feel for more information. In a way, they will be combing through the feeling that has just overcome them, searching it for little bits of specific knowledge. In this case, our clairvoyant has discovered that she feels rather pissed off, and it started just after this angry man sat beside her. Please note, he does not need to be exhibiting an outward behavior that is angry, he just has it going on inside him. She makes mental note of the fact that her state has changed, and then without getting personally involved, she sits with the feeling for a moment and sees what else comes to mind.
Okay, I'm following you so far.
Good. Now, in this case, she suddenly has a memory from several years earlier, and all the details of how her car was stolen come to mind. She notes to herself that she has not thought about this for over a year, so it's interesting to her. There you have it, folks, a clairvoyant moment has just taken place. Our lady now is intrigued about what has just happened to her, and just for the fun of it goes the extra mile and turns to the man and says, "I remember when my car was stolen, it was a real pain in the butt." At which point the man looks at her incredulously and says, "How did you know that?"
Amazing.
I think so. So to be clairvoyant, one needs to have a keen understanding of their own thoughts and thinking patterns, and they also need to be able to know when they have been influenced by something outside of themselves compared with their own internal processes. In essence, it is being able to know when some of your tuning forks begin to vibrate in sympathy with an external source, and then being able to identify what thoughts, feelings, and words go with the experience of it.